Do you want a fade effect from one room to another? Well, that's what I'm going to show you today. With a simple click of a button, you can basically fade from one room to another in a nice, very smooth transition effect. Let's get into the tutorial. Right, so starting off, make sure you've got your two rooms. I've just got room 1, which is the room that I'm going to fade out of, and room 2, which is the room I'm going to fade into. These are the two rooms. So let's get started. So you want to come to your workspace, and you want to go to Objects. When you go to Objects, you create an object. And for now, we're just going to call this OBJ Control. This is not an object you necessarily need, but we're going to use it for this. You can use any other object in your project as long as you know, it's your control object. Then we're actually going to create two objects that are necessary for the fade in, which is OBJ fade in, and we're just going to duplicate this, and OBJ fade out. Now what we're going to do is we're going to come to sprites, and we're just going to create ourselves a sprite. We're going to call it SPR fade. This is the one sprite we'll need for this. And what we're going to do is we're going to come to the resize sprite, and we're going to change it from the default 64 to 64 to, if you go to your room, you'll see that you have your room settings, your width and your height. Just turn off maintain aspect ratio, and then change the width and the height to whatever your room width and height is. So mine is in HD format, 1080p, so I've added that. We go apply, and then we go edit image. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go to this paint bucket here. I'm just going to right click, and it should turn it black. If it doesn't, then just, black. Boom. Done. That's not important anymore. Now what we're going to do is we're going to come to fade in, and we're going to do the fade in first since it's much more simple. We're going to go to the sprite, and we're going to choose the fade that we just created. Then we're going to create a create event, and we're going to put image alpha equals 1. Semicolon. This will basically, as soon as it's created, this will set the image alpha to 1, so it's completely opaque. 1, basically image alpha changes the transparency, 1 is completely opaque, and 0 is completely not opaque. So we're going to go to step here, and we're going to put image alpha negative equals 0.001, semicolon. Basically, this will change the image alpha every frame and take it away from itself every 0. We don't want that much. Oh, Jesus Christ. 0.01, not 0.001. That would be very slow. And basically, that means now that every frame, it'll take away a certain amount of it'll take a certain amount of opaqueness, I guess you could say, away from the image until it's completely opaque. And if you're a very big resource hog who doesn't want to, take up so much, doesn't want to have too many objects, if image alpha equals 1, curly brackets, instance destroy, just like that. And that will basically you want to have brackets as well. That'll basically just destroy the instance once it's been made, so so you don't have too many of these at the same time. That's the fade in. So if we go to room 2, what we want to do is we want to take this to the instances as high as you can, like the top layer, and just put this over your entire scene, so it should look completely blacked out like this. If you want, you can turn this on and off while editing it, because it's going to get in your way. But you should have this on the top layer when you want to actually export your project or use it. So we're just going to run this. No, we're not actually. We're not going to run this. What we're going to do is we're going to quickly test this out. So if you go and change the room that you want to fade into to the top room, we can show you that now you get a lovely fade in effect, which is pretty cool. We're going to change room 1 back here. And now we're going to do the fade out. So the fade out is kind of the same, except it's the complete opposite. So we're going to go sprites, and we're going to go to the fade again. Then we're going to go to create, and what we want to do is we want to go to image alpha equals 0 instead of 1 this time. So this will start off completely transparent. We're going to step, and we're going to go image alpha plus equals 0.01. Just like that. Then what we're going to do is, once this reaches completely opaqueness, then we want it to switch the room. So if image alpha equals 1, then room equals room 2, which is what I've named it, but you just choose whatever room you want to go to. So now this should be all working, but however we need to summon this into the room. So we're going to go to our control variable, our control here, and we're going to go step. And what we're going to do is I want to make it so if I press space, then it fades out and into a new room. You don't have to do this part, but this will just help you put in the fade. So if keyboard check pressed, but now I'm just going to put vk underscore space, just so if I press space, in curly brackets, instance create layer. Then we're going to do 0, 0, then whatever your top layer is called in those things, and we're going to go instances, just like that, comma, and then we're going to do obj fade out, just like that. That's what we're going to do. Instances obj fade out. So now, if we go to room 1 and we put the obj control in here, and we save, and we go into it, then what should happen is once we're in here, we press space, it will fade out, and into our second room, which is perfect, exactly what we wanted. And that's it basically. That's the entire thing done. You can put this to any control thing you want, as long as you have this line of code here. You can, you know, put this onto any condition, any key you want to be pressed, or whatever, you know, object, so you can summon it. And if you want, you can duplicate the fade out, or you could have, you know, if you go to fade out, you can change the room to room +1, I think, or you could like have a room rotation system, so you don't have to create multiple objects for different rooms. But either way, it shouldn't be too much hassle. It's just duplicating it and then changing the room name. And for this, it's just changing which object that is then. And possibly this, if you really have different layers for different rooms. But that's besides the point. So yeah, that's basically it. If you want to make the fade quicker or slower, then the way to do that is image alpha negative equals or plus equals 0.01. This value can be changed. If it's a value that's... The greater the value, the quicker the fade will be. The lower the value, the slower it will go. Don't put it over 1. Have it a 0 point something, because otherwise that would just be instant. You know, fade in, fade out. Just literally the exact frame. I recommend 0.01 or 0.05, which I'm going to show you right here, which shouldn't be too bad. So if we do this, then it should go pretty quick. But you know, that's all good. And considering, you know, you got the 30 frames per second, or whatever frames per second you have, you know. But that's it, yeah, so you can add this to anything you want. But yeah, that's it from me, so I will see you in another tutorial, hopefully. Goodbye, peoples.